Imagine waking up in your locked hotel room to find a handwritten note that says, "I am back in the room with you now." This happened, and it was only the first note. Our first story is from a frequent business traveler named Daniel, who learned this terrifying lesson firsthand. He was used to budget hotels, the kind with thin walls and worn carpets, and had never felt unsafe. That changed on a trip to a small town. His hotel was dated, with a lobby that smelled faintly of mothballs. He checked in late, exhausted, and went straight to his third-floor room. It was standard: a bed, a desk, a bathroom. He showered, watched some TV, and fell asleep. He awoke to a soft, scraping sound. Half-conscious, he dismissed it as plumbing, but it came again, distinct this time, the sound of something sliding across the floor near his door. He turned on the lamp. A small, folded square of paper was visible under the door. His heart began to race. He picked it up. The handwriting inside was jagged, unstable. It read, "I can see you from inside the hotel." Daniel stood frozen in the center of the room. The hallway outside was utterly silent. He fastened the security chain and sat on the bed, back to the wall, keeping the light on. Roughly 20 minutes later, the scraping sound returned. Another note slid through. This one said, "I was in your room today before you. I like to watch people sleep here." The words sent a cold spike through his chest. The idea of a stranger having been there, touching his things, was viscerally horrifying. He searched the room again, under the bed, the closet, behind the shower curtain, knowing it was empty but compelled to look. He debated calling the front desk, but a paranoid thought stopped him. What if the note writer worked there? He decided if a third note came, he'd leave immediately. After a long stretch of quiet, just as he began to relax, it happened. The slide was slower, deliberate. The third note held a simple, devastating sentence: "I am back in the room with you now." Daniel's breath caught. He spun around, scanning every shadow, every corner. The feeling of another presence was overwhelming. He grabbed his bag, peered through the peephole at an empty hall, unlatched the chain, and burst out the door. He ran down the hallway. Glancing back, he thought he saw a shadow retreat around a distant corner. At the front desk, a drowsy clerk was bewildered. He claimed only 3 other guests were on that floor, all accounted for. Daniel demanded to check out. Before leaving, he asked the clerk to inspect his room. Inside, everything looked normal, except for the window latch, which was freshly broken. The clerk grew pale, suggesting someone might have gotten in from outside. Daniel drove to a different town and didn't sleep. He called the hotel the next day. They claimed no security footage showed anything, and no other complaints were filed. The incident was brushed aside. But for Daniel, the mystery festered. Who was writing the notes? How did they get in? The broken latch suggested a physical intrusion, but the third note's claim, "I am back in the room with you now," implied something else, something he couldn't see or find. The most terrifying intruder is the one who leaves only a handwritten confession and a broken lock. Story 2 comes from Maya. Driving cross-country to see family, she pulled into a roadside motel well after dark. The parking lot was nearly empty. The night manager barely acknowledged her as he handed over a key. Her room was at the end of a dimly lit hall. Inside, things felt off. A lamp was tilted. A dresser drawer wasn't fully closed. The bedspread had a faint depression, as if someone had recently sat on the edge. She wrote it off to rushed cleaning and tried to sleep. She was awakened by the faint metallic sound of her door handle being tested. Then a click. It sounded like a key being inserted into the lock. The door pushed inward slightly, stopped by the engaged deadbolt, then closed. Maya lay rigid, listening. Convinced it was a staff error, she eventually fell back asleep. Around 2:25 a.m., she awoke to a different sound, the soft rustle of fabric from inside her room. Her eyes adjusted to the gloom. A dark, bulky shape was hunched over her suitcase in the corner. "Who is that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. A deep, calm voice replied, "Housekeeping. My apologies. I'll leave." The shadowy figure moved to the door and slipped out. Maya scrambled to lock the chain. Her suitcase had clearly been rifled through. She called the front desk. The person there insisted no housekeeping staff were on duty. Furious and terrified, Maya packed and went to the lobby, demanding to see security footage and calling the police. The footage showed a large, unfamiliar man wandering the halls, stopping at her door multiple times, and finally entering with a key. The manager confessed the man was not an employee and must have stolen a master key. Maya got a refund and spent the rest of the night in her car. The violation was absolute. Her trust in any temporary shelter was permanently shattered. Our third account is from Leo, who took a solo hiking trip and booked a cheap motel in a rural area. The place had a vacant, quiet feel. The clerk mentioned housekeeping had finished for the night. In his room, he showered and went to bed, but felt an uneasy fixation on the dark closet corner. He awoke later to a soft shuffling sound from that exact spot. Then he heard it, slow, deliberate breathing that was not his own. It was coming near the closet. He sat up slowly. The closet door, which he'd left wide open, was now almost shut. The breathing stopped the moment he moved. He backed out of the room and hurried downstairs. The front desk was unattended. When a weary clerk finally appeared, Leo explained. She seemed skeptical, but offered to check the room or move him. Together, they returned. The closet door was open again. Nothing was out of place. She suggested a bad dream. Embarrassed, Leo accepted a new room down the hall. An hour later, as he was finally drifting off, he heard the distinct squeak of a housekeeping cart rolling slowly down the hallway. It stopped outside his new door. Then he heard that same heavy, slow breathing right on the other side of the wood. This was followed by a soft, palm-pressed knocking, as if someone was feeling the surface of the door. After a minute, the cart squeaked away. Leo spent the rest of the night barricaded in his room. At checkout, a different clerk was on duty. When Leo described the events, the man looked uncomfortable. He revealed they hadn't had a night housekeeper on staff for over a week. The woman Leo spoke to earlier had been covering the duties. The missing housekeeper still had her keys. The clerk's evasiveness told Leo everything. He believed someone, likely that missing employee, was hiding in his original room and followed him through the hotel, breathing outside his new door. The mundane explanation was somehow more frightening than a ghost. The final story comes from Ryan, who worked maintenance at a mid-range hotel. One summer night, he was restocking towels in the indoor pool area. As he bent down in the storage closet, a loud splash made him jump. A life preserver was now floating in the center of the pool. The room was empty. He fished it out, unsettled. Later, he went to fix a toilet in a vacant room. As he worked, the temperature in the room plummeted. It was a warm summer night, but a deep, unnatural cold seeped into the air, raising the hairs on his arms. Just as suddenly, it was gone. He shook it off and finished the repair. As the tank filled up, a heavy thump echoed from the bedroom. Ryan stepped out of the bathroom. The phone was off the hook, dangling from the nightstand, but that's what held his gaze. In the far corner, next to the bed, stood a tall, completely black figure. It was featureless, a silhouette cut from the room's shadows. It was perfectly, unnaturally still. Then it moved. Not a step, but a slight, undeniable shift in its form. Ryan didn't wait. He bolted from the room. He connected the pool incident to this, an intelligence, a presence that was neither guest nor employee. He's tried to rationalize it as a trick of the light, a stressed mind, but he knows what he saw. In a place built for transients, he'd encountered something that felt permanently, ominously present. In a space meant for passing through, some presences seemed to have taken up permanent residence.
These stories remind us that the places we retreat to for rest can hold secrets we never intended to find. If these true hotel horrors unsettled you, please like this video. It supports Winds of Thought in sharing more chilling real-life narratives. Sleep well, and maybe check under the bed.